Hi, Mark Alderman from Alderman Chevrolet GMC, Vermont's favorite car dealership and New England's favorite General Motors electric vehicle dealership. Now, today I'm going to do my very best to give you a relatively impartial comparison between the all-new 2024 Chevrolet Blazer EV, this particular one being the RS, and a 2023 Tesla Model Y dual motor recent trade-in. Now, one of the first things that we notice is there's a difference in the overall engineering of the vehicle and the layout from the wheelbase up. So the Blazer has a longer wheelbase, 8 inches longer, and a wider track, which is 3 inches longer. And overall, so when you take a look at it from ground level, you'll see kind of a blockier, low-slung, lower center of gravity, wide track, very planted stance in the Blazer. The Model Y has this relatively bulbous kind of overall design architecture. The wheelbase is 3 inches narrower, but a much higher center of gravity. Reminds me kind of a Beetle, so to speak, a more modern version of a Beetle. And then a shorter wheelbase overall. Now, you will experience that difference in the ride and handling. You'll actually notice that from a handling perspective, the Model Y is a little bit quicker. And how to rate that comparison, it's kind of like the difference between, say, a motorcycle and a quad. In that side to side, the Model Y is a little bit quicker, but the Blazer's much more stable. Up front, first of all, and let me say, Model Y is a really good car, and there are some specific advantages. Both cars have great lighting. They both have LED headlamps, and then the Tesla Model Y does have a frunk, which the Blazer does not. I've expressed my frustration with that with Chevrolet. I like to refer to that as the takeout trunk. Tesla has a small one, Blazer does not have one at this point, but Mark Alderman's personally put in a request for that. Powertrains, both are outstanding. The Teslas maybe got a tiny advantage, but both of these cars are very, very quick on acceleration, and they'll be much quicker than anything that a gas-powered vehicle counterpart would produce. The Blazer does have an advantage in overall range, about 10% more range than the Tesla Model Y. However, because of better thermal controls or thermal dynamics, and also better regenerative braking on the Blazer EV, here in Vermont, with temperature changes and elevation changes, you'll see greater than a 10% advantage with the Blazer overall range at over 300 miles. With the Tesla Model Y, I think somewhere in the 280 mile range, but again, that will change over time. So coming around here, you can see what I'm talking about that kind of bulbous design architecture. One of the things with the Tesla there is when you're looking at the statistics, the interior room statistics, the Tesla may show some initial advantages, but whether or not that's functional space or not, that would be debatable. Both have great rear LED tail lamps. We'll come around and look at the cargo area on the Tesla. Both are E4-wheel drive, and both do great in the snow. So overall here in the Tesla, it's a narrower compartment. It is a little bit longer. It's got about 4 inches more length, but about 4 inches less width. And then the height is actually, the overall height of the vehicle is slightly more in the Tesla than the Blazer. But again, is that functional? You see this rake here, with this being a horizontal line across here, this comes down and compromises the room to a certain extent. Now you do have a healthy amount of hidden storage underneath there, so that's sizable for sure. Both have power rear lift gates. The Blazer here has, I don't know if I went far enough away to deactivate it. I don't think I did. But the Blazer has a feature with a key fob. You have to go more than 30 feet away. So I don't have it activated at this point. But you would stand here within the zone, 4 beeps with the key fob in your pocket, and the rear lift gate opens automatically. And so if you're in that zone accidentally, all you have to do is get out before the 4 beeps and it will not open. But here you see more width, a little bit less length with the seats up, by the way. You'll see there's quite a bit more rear seat room. And then this does have some hidden storage. It's a little bit wider, not as deep underneath there. Nice. And then there's a tray for like the charger and things like that. So, and then this has just a 60/40 instead of the 40/20/40. So instead of a 3-section rear seat, it's a 2-section. And again, you see the rake here is not as much, so it's a little more squared off in the back, which could give you more functional space depending on what you're using it for. So we'll do a rear seat comparison here. The door handles, one of the things about the door handles, difficult, not impossible, and there's a bit of a learning curve here, but a little bit difficult with one hand. You have to press this in and then come around and grab this before it goes back in, right? So if you don't do that motion, you can't get it open. And if you have something in your hand while you're trying to get the door handle, it's darn near impossible. But that may be just a personal preference thing there. So here's the rear seat. Both have nice, comfortable seats. The finishes are very well. So here I'm sitting, and I've got both driver's seats in exactly the same driver's position, what I would normally have. And you'll see, you know, it's adequate room and there's plenty of headroom. The fixed glass roof is very popular. Some people don't like the fact that it doesn't have a shade, and it can create a fair amount of heat there. The Chevy is optional with a power moonroof that can open, or there's a shade. But overall, it's not a bad back seat. It's relatively decent. Now, when we look up front here, and we'll take a closer look, but you'll see a very Spartan design, really kind of railing against traditional automotive design. You don't have a display specifically for the driver, so you've got that really large touchscreen, which has a lot of really cool features. Whether or not those features are beneficial to somebody driving or not, or owning a car, that's debatable. But it does have some really cool features nonetheless. So we'll take a look at the Chevy here. This has, so one nice feature here, it's got a push button on any one of the doors. So as long as the key fob's in your pocket, just press that and you can lock and unlock the doors that way. See, the door handle's well, I locked it. Door handle's easy to use. Again, it's not as flat, maybe not as aerodynamic, but really functional. I think overall the interior's a little bit more finished off on the Blazer, just in every area, whether it's underneath the seat, just different areas. There's a little bit more attention to detail in my opinion. This has a nice suede insert, microfiber insert I would say. But take a look at the room difference here and you can see it's considerable. So that room difference is if you've got an adult in the back here, or if you've got one of the seats folded down, that would add to the cargo room. So with the seats folded down, tremendous advantage in the Blazer EV, and for 4 or 5 adults, more comfort for them. Heated seats in the rear here. Also, air vents are tactile and easy to use, easy to adjust. And there's the appearance on the Chevy. And I'm going to argue that, let's see, I want to zoom out some. The Chevy's more driver-centric, so that center screen tilts towards the driver, large driver infotainment screen, but overall easier to use. So if you've ever struggled with trying to do something with your phone, certainly the phone is very easy to use for most things, but when you get down a little bit deeper on some other things, it can be challenging. And so some of the people question like using, doing different controls. For example, the cruise control and using the HVAC vents is more complicated than it should be because it goes through the touchscreen. But overall, both cars are very spacious. We'll go into the Tesla, take a little closer look here. Both front seats, I mean, the seats in the Tesla are outstanding. Very similar on the Blazer. Both of these vehicles have great seats and they're very comfortable. So here we're inside. Let me see if it's in drive mode or do I have to tap the card. So here, this uses a card instead of a key fob. And the card can be a real pain. So what we need to do here with the card is we've got to touch the card down here, and now the car is on. Now you can do it with your phone, and there's different ways you can program it, so don't crucify me too much in that respect. But as you can see when you're looking at the steering wheel, there's nothing in here. So there is, look, the view out the front window is, the front windshield is nice. You do have some controls here. One controls the volume, and I'm not sure what the other one does. This might go through different screens and things. I just pushed on a microphone. So one of the things I will tell you is as you start digging into this, you can get stuck into screens and into places that you don't want to be when you're trying to find something. And so that can prove kind of frustrating. Here's what I'm talking about with the HVAC. Now, here's a really cool thing, right? So you can see like fog coming out of this virtual dash, just showing that the vents are on. Whether or not that makes vehicle ownership better or not, that's debatable, and that's a personal decision on your part. I'm sure that you can. So I turned the vents off. Now I don't know how to turn the vents back on, and I don't know how to turn the fan down. Let's see if we can figure out how to turn the fan down. Heated seats, a heated steering wheel. Let's see, maybe I can turn that off. Okay, now here's the other thing. For somebody like myself that needs reading glasses, there are many screens on here. I'll show you just one where I don't know what these say. I can't read these without my reading glasses. So there may be a way to change the font size on that. I don't know about that. But that is one aspect that it kind of solves a problem that nobody had. Now, a cool thing, you can open the front and you can open the trunk, and you can turn this around here and look at different things. And then you can set it up for voice command, and you can say open trunk, and it will open the trunk. I don't have it set up properly, but so that's that. You know, console's nice. There's lots of space and different things. It does have the ability to charge 2 phones at once, so that can be a nice bonus. Let's see. And we'll go over here and check out the Blazer. Bigger wheels on the Blazer, also standard with 19s, available with 21-inch. The Tesla, I think, is just 20 inches, and you can get an optional wheel, but I think they're still 20 inches. Hop inside here. When we come in with a key fob, the car's on, we're ready to go. You can see it's got a nice mix of tactile buttons along with the screens, the touch screens. Let's see if I turn that off. So if I want to change the fan, right, I can increase the fan there or put it down there. If I want to put it on the defrost, put it on there. If I want the rear defogger on, it's right there. So if I want to change the temperature, I can turn a dial here and I can see the temperature change. And it's got dual zone. Or I can press this button here and it's synced up. So it's, in my opinion, it's more intuitive. Whether that's some of my bias or not sure. It's got buttons conveniently located here for like the heated steering wheel. And you can go pretty deep on this car, but you don't ever have to go deep on this car. Cameras similar to the Tesla, very intuitive, great display. You got the surround vision, and then it's got multiple different cameras, but it's all intuitive and goes to the appropriate camera. There are some advantages to the Tesla in that respect, but the cameras are really solid on the Blazer EV. The Blazer EV does have in the rear mirrors, it's got blind zone alert, so it's solid orange if there's somebody in your blind zone, and then it flashes if you're trying to turn and somebody's in your blind zone. Now the Tesla's got cameras that actually shows the car in the camera, but I don't know, again, it's a personal decision whether that's, because here with the mirror, it's intuitive. So you're going left, you're already looking in the mirror, it's already there. If I'm going left, I'm looking in the mirror. Now I have to look back over here to see if somebody's over there. And so the camera idea is cool. The location of the camera, I'm not sure is the best. Something like the volume control is right here. It's a nice dial. It's located up and out of the way, but it's intuitive and it's tactile. And so if you've ever all of a sudden needed to turn the volume down, or get a great song and you want to jack the volume up, you know, you want things that are naturally where you want them to be, where you think they should be. And so I think the Chevys maybe got an advantage in some of that, and that may be because they've been doing it for over 100 years. And then things like the air vents where they're movable is kind of a nice feature. Again, the console is very good, very comparable. Wireless charging for only one phone, but plenty of space. Visibility out of the windshield's extraordinary. They both have great safety features, and they both have great efficiency. Very similar. For example, the Blazer here, we'll take a look, but I believe, let's see. Oh, this is one of our loaner vehicles, so I don't have the sticker, but I believe it goes 96 miles on what would cost you normally for a gallon of gas. So they call that the EMPG. And so both these cars do a terrific job in that respect. So if you're looking for a low mileage, 5,000 mile Tesla Model Y, one owner trade-in with a clean Carfax, I've got one here, right here for you. If you'd like to come down and test drive both the Blazer EV and the Tesla Model Y to see the difference, I think you'll find that the Blazer EV is a quieter ride and a better suspension and better overall ride and handling. But again, I invite you to try driving both and let me know what you think. Now, if you'd like to learn more overall and you're on Facebook, there's a Learn More button below. Or if you're on YouTube, there's a link in the description. Or come see either one of these cars at Alderman Chevrolet GMC, Route 7 South in Rutland.